I think that's it. I honestly feel panicky because planning to go live is very different from actually just waiting and then pushing the button and going live when you're ready. It's kind of stressful. Here I am with my glass of water. Look, this is incredible. But what we're doing in this video, I probably should say, is actually building ourselves a budget-friendly gaming PC. And I'll start by saying that my plan was actually to do like a RTX 4070. To Mr. Carl.
We seem to be having audio issues. We can't hear you.
Oh, am I muted still? Am I muted? Oh. That'll do it. That will do it. We'll have to change it a little bit. The irony was, I was actually saying at the start of the video as well that it was stressing me out doing this because we didn't have time to check everything, because I decided it would be a good idea to schedule a stream for exactly 6:30 and then get really panicked when we ran out of time, and I said, let's just go live anyway, let's just wing it. And yeah, winging it clearly gives you half of a live stream. At least the video was okay though, right?
Video's okay.
Video's okay.
I'm getting no audio through my headphones either.
You're getting no audio. I mean, I can see we've got levels on the thing, so is everything okay in the chat? Because yes, Carl is here as well. Say hello.
Hello, I am here as well. Just trying to work out what's going on with my laptop.
Chaos. It's absolute chaos in PC Centric HQ. Today we're doing a budget-friendly build, actually, which should be pretty good fun. Because everyone is sick, right, of really expensive GPUs. I was actually going to do this. I don't want to put this water near all the really expensive graphics cards. That seems like a terrible idea. Everyone is sick of expensive GPUs, and this was actually meant to be a video all about a 4070 Ti. Do we have one? Yes, we do. We were going to do a build with this. Asus sent one out, the 4070 Ti Tough, and I've decided no, we're not doing that today. We are going to do something that the guys actually want to watch, which is something affordable. And yes, I know it is a little bit tongue-in-cheek in the title of this video at the time of filming, literally live, to have a laughter emoji. But yesterday I had affordable in my build, and people took that a little bit too literally. So the joke today is that this is actually affordable rather than an £800 graphics card. But to be fair, the build we did yesterday was actually, the whole thing was affordable. It was the most affordable build we've done in a long time. But yes, while the build was, the graphics card was still a lot of money. But yes, anyway, welcome to everyone for watching this video. That's a terrible way of saying that. Welcome to everybody watching this video. I really hope you're ready for a pretty epic ride. And yes, hello to Carl, who is here. Hello, Carl.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm in the chat with you guys, so I'll be reading out any messages or questions you might have for Marcus. So as always, just throw them in the chat, and I'll do my best to try and keep up.
Is there anything technical that we need to know at the moment?
I've still got no sound in my headphones for whatever reason.
For whatever reason. Technical issues, but
as long as I don't have to listen.
Is it okay with the stream? Is anyone moaning, saying there's no audio?
No one's complaining.
No one's complaining.
So yeah.
People don't like the sound of my voice, to be fair, so they're probably quite relieved that there's no audio on that front. If you need to, you can restart the computer. The password is Marcus is the best. All caps, exclamation mark. Oh no, I've revealed my password on air. What am I going to do? First things first, anyway, actually maybe before you get the sound working, Carl, if you haven't already restarted it, we need to work out what graphics card we're going to use. We need to start the poll.
Need some polls.
And we've got... Sorry, that sounded really weird to me. I thought you meant like, people from Poland. It's like, well, I don't know how that's relevant to this video. We need to start a poll all about which GPU you want. We've got the RTX 3050, which Is that? I guess that's the cheapest option. It's actually probably tied with the RX 6600, despite the fact that's a larger box. This is a more budget-friendly GPU. And then stretching it up to mid-range, we have a RTX 3060. But all of these are between about 250 and 350 pounds. And if you can get them used, they should actually be less than that. If you buy a 3060 new, you might be paying a bit more. But there are plenty of options when it comes to used GPUs, because Carl's been plugging the numbers away this week, ready for a bit of a deep dive that we're going to do in a published video, probably start of next week. But yeah, welcome everybody to the stream. I hope, as I say, I hope you're having a nice evening or morning, depending on when you are. Let's get our build on. Can we get some names? Who have we got in the chat? What are people saying?
We've got a few people in the chat. I just got the poll live. We've got Oliver Borg. I like reading these funny names. You just don't see things.
Oliver Borg. It's like, who's the guy on Radio 2? OJ Borg. That's not the same name, actually, is it? But
maybe it's pronounced.
Maybe it's spelt the same. I don't know.
Derek Boone.
Derek Boone. PC Centric mouse mat, I should quickly say, was meant to go offline on the 31st, I was told, but it seems to still be live for some reason. So if you want to grab one of these before. It's got very complicated. Basically, this is now a limited release. If you want this, there are about 280 or so units left, and they're going to sell out. And when they do sell out, this will be it. It will never be sold again. So if you want a PC-centric mouse mat, link is down below. It's pretty much global shipping wherever the company Juniper that are actually selling these on my behalf, wherever they can ship to, they will ship. So don't worry that if the price is in USD and you're in the UK, you can change the currency and you'll see everything. Go check that out, link is down below. But today I want to get our build on. So yes, we were saying, people in the chat, hello, I need to talk to you lovely people.
Quick question, what is the budget for this build? Do we have any idea? Do we manage to calculate that?
We go through everything as we can, but this is about 50, probably another 50, call it another 50, just round up, 150. Depending which CPU you go for, because we've got two options, it will be...
What about 100 or 150?
Yeah, so about 350. We're aiming for under 1,000, probably about 700, 800 quid, I think.
Yeah, I think it'd be a bit...
Quick maths, so you can do that throughout the stream.
Yeah.
But we're hoping this is going to be a bit more of a fast one today, because there's nothing complicated. No radiators, can you believe it? No radiators. We won't be offering the word, other than it's a bit cold in here and this one is not actually on. So I hate central heating. It just doesn't have the same ring to it. I needed to make some gas. Apologies if you heard that. Well, let's start with our motherboard. And usually I'd say put the motherboard on motherboard box, but we can't do that because where's it gone?
It's around here.
Oh, it's here. It's been moved. Troublemaker Carl has decided to move things. Can you believe it? We will build upon the 4070 Ti box just as like a, I don't know, a throw, a nod to the fact that we were going to use that and I'm not going to. But this is the Pro RS. This is a motherboard from ASRock, and this is a very budget-friendly motherboard, actually. It'll do the job. There's not really that much more to it than that. It is very bare bones. I mean, you can clearly see here that it's quite thin. There's not really too much going on. But that's not to say that that's necessarily a problem, because this is a budget-friendly build. And as long as it actually works and doesn't have any issues and it lets the CPU do all of the work it needs to do, it doesn't actually matter too much, especially once it's in your rig. It will sort of get a bit more solid. And this one actually looks quite nice as well. I kind of like the appearance despite the fact that it's a bit plain. But we're going for B660, we're going for Intel today, mainly just because I want it to be user upgradable. I don't want to go for last gen Ryzen and then you sort of be limited with what you can do. In theory with this, you could actually put an i9 from the 13th gen. I wouldn't recommend it on this motherboard, it's not really built for that, but in theory you can, it will be compatible, you probably just won't get the full performance out of it. But yes, we do need to install our RAM and our CPU. We've got two CPU options, so let me know quickly in the comments which one you want. Carl will have to assess.
I have to do another poll. Do you want me to do another poll?
No, keep the other poll going. Just people, this is very, very time limited now.
i3 or the i5?
Do you want an i3, which is a quad core, surprisingly powerful for a quad core? Like genuinely, the 11th gen i3 was okay, But I mean, it basically was like an i3, held you back a little bit. Whereas for some reason, this didn't really in most titles. I think even Halo, it's basically there was no change, was there, versus like an i9. It was very impressive. So if you want to go with the most budget-friendly option, we've got this, which is about £100, or we can go to the 12400, which is, depending on when and where you get it, maybe about 140, 150.
It's a landslide for the i5.
Landslide for the i5.
Absolute landslide.
Maybe I don't want to listen to the people. Maybe I'm going to put the i3 in. I'm not. We're going to go with that. So thank you very much to everyone that's voted. Who have we got in the chat, by the way? Let's get some names.
It's going incredibly fast.
And I like to say, if we read your name out, that means you have to stay with us for the full stream. I don't make up the rules.
Yeah.
I don't make up the rules. If your
rules
name's
of
read out,
live
you have to
streaming.
stay. You have to stay for the whole thing.
We've got somebody in the chat called This YouTube Channel. Good name.
So PC Centric.
No, just This YouTube Channel. Seb Porter, Magma. That's a good one. Just reminds me of...
Zoolander. Is it Zoolander?
No.
Magma.
That's Dr. Evil, isn't it? Magma. Yeah.
No, there's a dance in Zoolander. There's one of them. It's
maybe, yeah.
He's got Magma, and then he's got Blue Steel.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, you're right.
Yeah.
From Austin Powers as well.
Yeah.
Magma.
Molten Hot Magma.
That's the one. Maybe.
Oh, we've just got a super chat come through. This is a very good number. It's €13.37.
That is very precise. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's a conversion.
1337.
Yeah, that's probably. But then, I don't know. But thank you so much. Like, super chats, fantastic. If you want to donate to the channel, it is much appreciated. But don't forget, you've got PC Centric mouse mats down below that you can actually not only donate to the channel, help us literally keep the lights on, but then also grab yourself something pretty epic. But thank you so much. We will read out, if you leave a super chat, we will be reading your chat out. Or at least we'll try our best to. I don't think we've missed one yet. If we ever do, we're really sorry, but we definitely try to. I'm currently installing this CPU though, so this is our 12400. Just grab the F version. The difference, that was bad. The difference between the 12400 and the 12400F is that this one has an integrated GPU inside it, which is going to be useful if you want Intel QuickSync or you want to do a budget build without a graphics card, but for most people this will be all you need. I'm actually going to zoom this in a little bit. Apologies for the shakiness that now ensues. It's not too bad actually.
No, from like far away it doesn't look as bad.
Yeah, I mean that's a little bit shaky, but I'll hold it.
I forgot to actually read out the
super chat.
The super chat.
We read out all the super chats. We read out all the super chats on
this
this
channel.
channel.
By the number, like it said 1337. It says thank you. It's from Mr. Don. Thank you, PC Centric. Thanks to you, I got a 4090 and the perfect case, the Meshified 2 RGB.
Oh, very nice case. Very nice case. I really did like that case. It's one of the few cases that actually comes with all the RGB fans and things that you want. And I'm reluctant to say good value, but for a high-end case, the value is there. It's pretty cool. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. What was the name again?
Mr. Don.
Mr. Don. Thank you. You are the Don. We can't argue with that.
No.
We do also need to decide on a cooler, by the way. So no poll, because we'll keep that going until we get to the graphics card.
We'll just spam the chat again.
So people spam the chat. I'm giving you permission to do it. Normally we say no. He will block you if you spam the chat with stuff we don't want. But stuff we do want is you to tell me what cooler we should use. We've got an Intel integrated one, the stock cooler. Integrated, it's not the right word. Stock cooler. I was trying to pass that off, make me sound all professional, like that was the word I wanted to say. It wasn't, I cocked it up. We've got the stock cooler, which obviously comes with the i5. It's what I'd recommend for most people if you're trying to save money, because you can upgrade this later. Or we've got a Hyper 212 RGB, which is currently going for about 45-ish pounds. A little bit more expensive, but will look very, very good. I think it should fit in the case. It's a big box, but I don't think it'll be a problem. Or we have this, which is the AK400, about £32. Links to everything, by the way, are linked in the description down below. But this is going to be for those that want a cooler that performs very well, is very quiet, but is fundamentally a little bit cheaper, as I say, about £32. So spam chat, let me know what you want. Now, 3 options. I can count.
Nobody's going for the stock cooler, I'll say it.
Nobody? Nobody?
There's a lot of... It's very mixed.
Very mixed.
Very mixed. I think the AK400, though, has taken the lead.
Okay. Yeah. We'll leave it a little bit longer. Well, keep putting in the chat what cooler you want, and we will do that in just a second. But I'll do the RAM next in that case while you're deciding. It's nice that you guys have the power, isn't it, to decide what goes into the build. Have we had a comment yet where someone said, is this actually live?
I'm not sure.
Not this time.
There's just a lot of AK400 212s just flying in the chat right now. That's literally all I can see.
What, AK, people wanting the deep call?
A lot of people are going for the deep call. I don't know if it's the same person over and over because the chat's just moving that quickly.
This is the RAM we're using, by the way. We have some bad news. And that is, as Carl informs me, seems as if you can't get hold of any crucial ballistics anymore. It doesn't seem to be anywhere. I don't know. Do you guys in the chat know whether it's been discontinued? Did you say the gaming brand is seized?
Yeah, Crucial have killed off their ballistics.
But why? Why, Carl?
I don't know.
Makes no sense.
It was always, good value, reliable.
It was.
RAM.
So it means my budget kit of memory is now slightly more expensive because it's the D45G from XPG. Very good set of memory. This is actually running at 3600 megahertz, which should let our processor stretch its legs a little bit more. But I'll be honest with you, the difference between this and 3200 for the GPU we're using probably will make no difference whatsoever, but it's nice to have slightly faster RAM and go faster stripes as well. Over to you, Carl.
I think it's definitely an AK400.
AK400, okay.
So yeah, there's a lot of 212 people which are going to be annoyed. But I feel like I've seen more AK400s.
I'm surprised by that, actually. I think that's good because, as I say, Deep Cool's just... I really like the brand. They're very quirky. They have not sponsored this stream, by the way. They have sponsored a previous one. But they're a very quirky brand because they seem to make products that are actually very, very good. Not all of them are. They have a few ones that I would probably avoid. Like every single brand out there. I can't think of a single brand where every product is good.
No, not really.
Be Quiet tends to be decent.
Yeah.
But then some of them are just too expensive to consider.
They don't justify the price. Like you said earlier, a product's only as good as much as it costs, sort of thing.
Yes, we'll get onto the 4070 Ti actually. We'll do a little rant while we're building this because people want a discussion.
Flown in as well.
Super chat? Flown in from where?
Flown in.
Where? Heads.
Sonk Gaming. They've sent 70 ZAR. I have no idea. What
ZAR. Is that rand?
I don't know. Just ZAR.
Google it. Just Control T for those that don't know. Control T and type in
currency. Anyway, they're buying a new PC and doing a big jump from a 750 Ti to an RX 6700. We're watching a lot of your videos to get the build they want. That's a big jump. 750 Ti to a 6700.
That is.
That's going to be like 10 FPS to like 200 FPS at 1080p.
That is going to be pretty epic. I mean, here's the thing, right? I promise we'll do the rant in just a second. But buying a gaming PC, it's all about what you actually need, not what you want or what people tell you should buy. And the problem that I'm seeing at the moment now is that people are too fixated on wanting the absolute highest end because you've always bought an 80 series GPU, let's say. We've always bought the top end AMD, and obviously now it's more expensive. So your options are either to buy it and basically spend a load of money on it, or you can't buy it or don't want to buy it, and then you feel like, feel left out because you've not got the best. But for clarity, what am I using? I've only just switched now in my PC downstairs to the 7900 XT, not the XTX. And honestly, I noticed zero difference whatsoever because I still play the same game. I'm still hitting the sort of frame rate cap of 120 FPS in Formula 1. Like, the settings are the same, and this is. I'll do the rant now, and this is pretty much what I'm saying about the 4070 in tomorrow's video. It got a lot of hate, and I want to be very clear as well and say, if you watched yesterday's video, that was filmed before Christmas, before NVIDIA came out and did their comparison in their launch to. I mean, I haven't actually seen it, but I've heard they compared the performance to a 3090 or maybe 3090 Ti, and basically said it was way faster than the 3090 Ti. And the way they did that was by showing a benchmark in Cyberpunk in the overdrive mode that doesn't even exist yet. You can't play it, which is very misleading. And why you would do that, I have no idea, because the irony is that the 4070 Ti, I think, is actually the most enticing card that they're selling at the moment. Don't worry, we'll talk about price. Enticing card when it comes to performance. because this is probably the ceiling for most people when it comes to performance you actually need. This gets you about 150 FPS or so in Battlefield. It gets you, that's at 1440p. It gets you about 250 FPS or so in Apex at 1440p. And that's what most people are going to be playing, right? And the other thing as well is that this is a lot harder to be bottlenecked by a CPU. So while this is still very expensive, if you go for a 4080 or you go for a 7900 XTX, you're going to need something like a 7700X from AMD, or you're going to need like at least the 13th Gen i5 before you avoid any bottlenecking whatsoever. So that would make your PC even more expensive, whereas this, it pretty much has the performance that most people will need. Like I said, it's at the high ceiling, even if you want to play like 4K. And it does do ray tracing very well. That is, I think, the most positive thing. If you do want to play Cyberpunk with DLSS 3, this enables that. That's what the card's good at. But obviously the big problem is the fact that this is now a 70 series GPU for apparently £800, apparently 800 USD. But as we know, resellers are going to sell it for more if they can get away with it. That you can get like really expensive Strix versions and like the overbuilt versions from all the different GPU manufacturers. Not singling out ASUS, they all do it. Strix is just quite a strong brand, so I remember it. But all of the high-end ones of these are just utterly pointless in my opinion, because the card we tested, was it this one I tested earlier? It was. This was getting around about 50 degrees, 51 degrees, albeit in a decent case, but the side panel was on, 50 degrees, and it was basically silent. Why do you need a bigger cooler than that? It's just so stupid. So am I prepared to spend, you know, £800-900 on a 70 series product? When you put it like that, no. But if you're looking to actually build a high-end gaming PC right now, this does have, and this will all be discussed in the video coming next week, this does have a very similar value to the new AMD cards, and it probably has a better level of performance in terms of what you actually need that's going to meet your requirements. You can pay more for the AMD cards, for example, and that will get you more performance, but you still need a better CPU, and a lot of people won't even need that performance. It's just, I don't know. The whole thing is a mess, isn't it? Just graphics cards at the moment are a bit of a joke. Everyone seems to be against gamers at the moment, whether it's the price being artificially high in the first place, whether it's the card manufacturers putting big coolers on and making you pay for them, or the resellers that are actually, in some of them, they're not all doing it, but anyone that sells a card at the moment for above RRP, all of those people are out to get you, maybe, you know, not personally, but it feels to me like everything's out to get you when it comes to being a gamer. It's just pretty unfair, to be honest with you. But yeah, that is the 4070 Ti in a nutshell. Ironically, probably the best, or at least the most appropriate card for most people tested yet. But obviously it's a 70 series card that's priced above 80 series, so, or the old 80 series. So it's pretty annoying, but if you need to buy a graphics card, you're upgrading to a high-end rig. The irony is that actually the 4070 Ti is probably the most suitable for me when it comes to the performance I need at my gaming PC.
As long as you can get it at the price.
As long as you actually can get it at the price that it's for. But I mean,
yeah.
But then the problem, sorry to interrupt you, Carl.
No,
but then the problem with that is you can say that about all the cards. So it's like, oh, well, you know, the easy thing to say is, oh, we'll just buy the AMD card then, just get the 7900 XT because it's the same price as that.
It's out of stock.
Going to run the same, it's out of stock, or it'll be the same problem with this. If you buy a third-party card, that will be artificially inflated as well, and they're all just going up and up and up and up. And the only way this stops is people stop buying them, but people won't stop buying them because people need graphics cards. There we go, I'm done.
Happy?
Yes, well, no, not really.
Not happy, clearly.
But there we go. Do you have any insight, Carl? Anything you want to add?
No, not really. I think you've covered it mainly. At the end of the day, everything's getting more expensive, no matter what it is. And I suppose the only thing you can look to hope for is that the new CPUs that have been announced by AMD and Intel, you might be able to save money there, which you can then afford to spend on your much more inflated graphics card now. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, like you say, it's difficult because every time now I feel like I say anything that isn't what everyone else is saying. Like there was so much hate for the 70 Ti yesterday, and my video seemed to stand out compared to theirs because it wasn't a video like slating that GPU. When, as I say, in terms of the performance relative to the other cards, it's basically the same as
the new AMD cards in terms of value. So I pretty much covered it like I covered the AMD ones. But yeah, I can see why people are angry. And the more I think about it, the more angry I get. But I feel like I have a responsibility to show people if you're buying, what you're getting, as well as just, I don't know, it's a mess. I want one more thing. I want to point out, I guess everything, as we know, inflation is going up. No way defending these cards going up, but they should probably increase a little bit due to inflation. For context, my dog food, pack of 6 tins of butchers, used to cost me £4. They're now £5.10. It's been in like a year.
That's 20%.
20%. So it's not just graphics cards. That's the only defense I'll say. But they you know, Nvidia knew what they were doing, because people proved that they would pay ludicrous amounts of money for graphics cards during the pandemic, and then it seems that all of them, AMD, Intel, and Nvidia, are all like, oh well, people will be willing to pay that, then let's do that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are. This is a SSD, by the way. This is the budget-friendly SN550. I think this has either been discontinued or is no longer the best value. Go for the SN570, linked down below. This is a very budget-friendly SSD. It's PCI Gen 3, doesn't saturate the interface, but still, for most people, it's all you need. What was I saying? I don't know, something about dog food. Point is, everything's expensive. Graphics cards particularly expensive. I feel like everyone's out to get gamers at the moment, and it's just a bit sad. But if you need to buy something, you need to buy something, and actually the 4070 Ti, in terms of its performance, isn't actually too, well, I was going to say isn't actually too bad. The performance aspect is very good. Most people would love that card when it comes to performance. It's wrapped in a load of, I don't know, is deceit the right word? That's probably a bit strong, but it's wrapped in a load of terrible launch mess.
Yeah, you've got the backlash from the 4080 12 gig, and then it becomes the 4070 Ti.
Yeah, and they're acting as if it hasn't.
Yeah, even though it's identical in every way. And I think at the end of the day, it's just as long if the price was lower, no one would complain, and that's all that matters.
As I say, I mean, it's just
the card's fine.
In terms of
fine.
Yeah, in terms of the performance, it's probably not the best performance, obviously not. It's the most appropriate performance for what most people, would want to pay.
Yeah.
Or what most people would want. Sorry, it's just more than you'd want to pay. It's way more than you'd want to pay.
Yeah. They're all guilty of it. AMD did it last year when they were launching 6600s for like £400, and then a few months later, those cards are like £260.
Yeah, it's all a mess. There's no defending anyone. There's no attacking anyone in particular. It's just the situation we're in, and it's crap. But I think that's my rant anyway. What are people in the comments saying? Am I on the mark, or am I way off?
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of agreeing, but a lot of people are just complaining at the end of the day about the price, and there's not much that we can do about that. The only thing that you can do about it is
no one saw that. It's fine.
Not buy it if you care that much.
Well, I think the thing that we probably don't talk about enough is obviously addressing the elephant in the room, as people rightly point out. We're literally, playing's not the right word, but we have access to this hardware. Companies give or loan it to us free of charge, right? So this is obviously the job for us, is to test this hardware. And a lot of the time people say, it's all very well talking about a graphics card you got for free. As I say, I have not got a 4090 in my own system or anything like that. All of this stuff has just been used for work. And it is definitely a skill to be able to look at this stuff objectively, and you need to, sometimes you're fighting just for the consumer. Other times you have to defend companies a little bit with certain decisions they made. Not saying I'm defending the graphics card companies at all, but it's like a balancing act to, I guess, come up with your own verdict on what's right and what's wrong. And it's difficult because from the business side of things, they want to make as much money as possible. You can see why they're doing it. But then obviously from the consumer's point of view, it's awful. I mean, I bought the top end, this was a while ago, but I bought the top end graphics card, which was the GTX 680, and that was 420 quid. And I remember all the reviews were like, it's great, but it's really expensive. And somehow we've gone to almost £2,000. Well, in some cases, £2,000 for a graphics card for the top end performance. So whose story do you take? Do you take, oh, well, you know, these are more expensive to make, inflation, there's more going on, crazy levels of performance? Or do you look at it as, well, hold on a minute, suddenly the top graphics card is literally 5 times more. So I don't know. I've been finding the 4070 a very tricky product to talk about, truth be told, because I think it's very easy to hate on it, and it deserves a lot of what it's got. But I did think some, I won't say in particular, but there was one video in particular that did annoy me, the way that the outlet was speaking about it, because I feel like it was too much, and it wasn't justified what was being said, when the value is the same as the AMD cards. And if you're going to properly go in and slate the 4070 Ti, you also have to be talking about, surely, that the AMD cards are just as much of a joke, because they're almost the exact same value as that card, and that wasn't mentioned, and it did annoy me. Carl?
We've got a super chat from Teddy.
Teddy?
Teddy.
What, my Teddy? I've got a Lotso, hugging bear.
Oh.
Is that who?
No, he's just called Teddy.
Oh, it's not the same one. Oh, well, thank you very much, Teddy. That's really nice of you.
They've given a $20 super chat, and they've left a lovely comment saying, hello, love the videos. I've binge watched mostly all of them at this point. I was wondering if you ever got the personal rig up and running. Also, please give half of this to editor Carl, or Carl, C or a K, however he spells it. Haha. Thanks, Teddy.
Well, I mean, I feel like I have no choice. There we go.
Caught on live stream now.
It's recorded on live stream. You'll have to remind me. You can have the extra in your pay packet. How about that?
Yeah. So the main question was, did the personal rig get up and running?
Kind of. I mean, Thea's been downstairs using it all day.
Yeah.
It's just, it was fine, but it was never proper. Basically, the contact, I think, was like 85 to 90% contact, which was fine for when you're running a game, but it still gets way too hot. Like, it gets, if you run Cinebench, it will hit like 100 degrees, but when you're gaming, it's like 70 degrees or so. So it's not right, but it was usable, and I just decided, you know what, in the end, I think I will either update it properly, or I will start a new rig, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. So the story's not over, but it just seemed as if there are only so many videos you can make on the same thing. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have got around to that. Anyway, sorry. Sorry. It does live. It's being used. It's just it's limping rather than thriving.
It's fine for gaming, just not Cinebench.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing that I also say in some of these videos. Like, okay, if it's a little bit loud or a little bit hot in Cinebench, but then it's fine in gaming, then it doesn't really matter. I need to focus on what we're doing. We're currently installing this cooler.
Someone just said, build the PC already.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. But I did say the rent was coming, so that's done and out of the way. We can move on now. We're going to put this cooler on. It will drop into place like that. But obviously, at the moment, we do actually need to put the bracket on. I don't really remember how this one installs. Just build the goddamn PC already. This is I say the problem. I mean, I like it. This is the good thing about live. We actually, you hear all of the Marcus ranting stuff.
Yeah, the stuff that has to get cut out so that the algorithm is happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really weird, actually, with these streams, because a couple of them have been doing really well on the archives, which is great, but we don't really know why. No, not in a bad way, but for some reason, as I say, they've been doing really well, so it's a little bit strange.
Yeah, about 3 weeks after they get uploaded, all of a sudden the views just spike up. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. And it's nice because it enables us to actually do these, and we love doing it. Carl the way it works is Carl basically works half a day and then works in the evening. He trades his hours in. He trades them in for you, and the poor person that misses out is Ellie. Yeah. And I suppose Thea as well, because she's here. She's a full-time student. She's going back in a couple of days, which is big sads.
Big sads.
Big sads. You told me you didn't like it.
I didn't say anything.
You didn't say it. No, you didn't. You didn't. It's all good. Yeah. But yeah, the girlfriends are the people that miss out.
Yes. So the fans of the PC Centric channel can enjoy a nice live stream.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad we can actually do this because it enables us to actually talk to you guys rather than it be a bit of a one-way thing. So it's great. Carl, what's going on in the chat?
There's a few people in the comments about the 4070 Ti still. I think it's definitely a product that's rubbed a few people up the wrong way.
I think that is actually the best way of describing this. It's a product that's rubbed people up the wrong way. So it launched and it's just been slated. And as I say, one particular review, I think it was overslated. But I can totally understand why, because the product was just a bit of a... It came across as, let's get the absolute most money out of them this time. Let's do this. Let's have two 48. Oh, can you? That was so stupid. Let's have two 4080s. They're not the same at all. The performance is way off the mark, and we will charge people an absolutely ludicrous amount of money to achieve it. And then to make matters worse, we'll use some benchmarks from an unreleased demo that is not representative of the performance people are actually going to be playing their games with. Great business strategy. Well done. And that's where it all went wrong.
Yeah, like somebody said, I think it offers no generational improvement versus an RTX 3080, which isn't true because I have tested it today and yesterday.
Yeah, that's the other. That's right. If you've watched the review, you'll know the one I'm talking about. But
it is on par with the 3090
yes,
Ti.
It is not worse than the 3080. That's the bit that got me annoyed because okay, in one test maybe it was. And as I say, I'm not defending the product at all. Well, I guess I mean, I'm defending it in the sense of saying it's not absolutely terrible. It's very good performance that is overpriced. It is not, the product itself, the performance is not terrible. It might be in one particular test, but from what we saw, you know, spoiling the video a little bit, what was it? It was, you actually found it was slightly faster than the 3090 Ti, didn't you, in the games we tested?
In the games that we tested, we only tested 5 games. Some people test about 30 games, so you obviously get a lot more data from that. But in the 5 games that we tested, I think in one game, the 3090 Ti was faster, whereas the rest it was more or less on par or a win for the 4070 Ti.
Yeah, with, of course, the main difference being it's way more power efficient, so it doesn't use a ton of power, and more importantly, I think for me, not only obviously cost, it's going to cost you less in terms of power, but way more importantly for me is the fact that it was silent. It was so nice. Both cards I tested, it was lovely. Really nice, quiet PC. I did not like the 3090 Ti at all. I took it out of my system. The one I was borrowing for a bit, they didn't pick it up for a while, and it was in my system. I took it out, it was making too much noise. It was honestly really annoying. Whereas, obviously, this gen, you have much better ray tracing, much better DLSS, because you have DLSS 3.0, and it's just a much better all-round GPU. It was just the fact that you obviously have less video memory, which doesn't actually really matter to gamers unless you, I don't know, are doing a lot of modding or something. For all intents and purposes, 12 gig is more than most people are going to need. Again, not defending the product, I'm just saying the performance of the product, the actual product, forgetting about price, is pretty good. I was happy. It ran fast and it ran quiet, right? Just terrible name, and the price is way more than any 70 series product should ever be, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion. That's the cooler installed anyway. Have I upset people? I feel like I feel like I'm being very strong with what I'm saying.
Is the heatsink upside down?
No.
No?
No.
Dave Hicks, you're lying to me.
About what?
He said the cooler's upside down.
I don't think it matters, does it?
Don't know, is there a logo upside down?
Well, there's a logo, but I think it's symmetrical, so you can actually take this off.
Ah, there we go.
And have it whatever way you want. Oh, I see. So yes, technically that would have been upside down, but...
Oh, Dave was right.
Dave was right, but also I'm right. I'm always right. Because you can just change it around the other side. He says, not being able to put it back in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the conclusion is with 4070 Ti is if you don't like the price, buy a used card.
Yeah, but then the problem with buying... Oh, it was fine.
It.
No, it's fine, it's fine. It'll be all right. It's just I don't know if I've broken the clip. I don't think so. I think I'm just being silly. Anyway, Yeah, if you don't like it, don't buy it.
You know, if the 3080 used offers great value in comparison, then buy the 3080 used. If you don't want to, you know, buy the 4070 Ti.
Yeah, I mean, how much is a 3080 used? Because that's probably what I'd recommend to a lot of people. It's just DLSS 3 is actually really good, and I feel like it's got a bad rap already, which I do think is unfair, and I will defend NVIDIA on that, because in Cyberpunk, which is what it's designed for, it's so good. It's so good. We were getting about 100 FPS, or I think it was like 90 to 100 FPS with the 4070 Ti in Cyberpunk with DLSS 3. And in terms of latency, it added about 5 milliseconds. That was it. Whereas there was no NVIDIA card from last gen that could do that. That did impress me. I did like that. It's just NVIDIA live and planet NVIDIA, where they think people are only going to be playing Portal RTX and Cyberpunk that it has overdrive that isn't even released. Like, they're in cuckoo land as far as I'm concerned. But I think you need to be able to talk about the good stuff and the bad stuff, and then let people make their own decision as to whether it's worth buying or not.
Jasmine asks a pretty simple question. So, what GPU would you recommend?
That is very simple. Do you want to know the irony? Right now, as I said.
4070 Ti.
Yeah, honestly, like, I recommend is a strong word, but as I've said earlier in the video, what would better question, what would I buy? What would I recommend for me? Yeah, probably 4070 Ti.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Or see what
I know that's probably unpopular opinion. This is why this is why I've been talking about it, because it's just priced badly. But the fact of the matter is, they're all priced badly. So I would probably either get a used 3080 or get either a RX. I might stretch to a 7900 XTX.
I think the RX 6800 is really cheap at the moment.
Yeah.
It's like 400.
I would strongly consider getting a used graphics card, I think, for most people. But I play 1440p ultra wide and I play high refresh rate. So performance-wise, I was always looking at like a 3080 Ti. Was about the right sort of performance. So either one of those used. I do play a lot of AAA titles. I am interested in ray tracing. So I would, and seeing how good DLSS 3 can be, I'm not sure I'd want to miss out on that. So that's why I'd go for either the new NVIDIA card or one of the new AMD cards, because they will have that eventually. Yeah. Oh, truth be told, I'd wait and see if there's a price war happens, and I would probably consider getting the 4070 and hoping that the price of that was a lot lower. But 70 Ti is that's the point. That's why it's pretty frustrating, because that's actually the sort of performance level I would go for me personally. And would I spend 800 quid on it? I mean,
probably not.
I would right now, because I'd use it for work, right? And obviously, when you're buying stuff for work as well, you get the benefits of you being able to claim some of it for work. Well, it would all be for work. But for getting all of that, what would I put in my personal rig? Maybe 3060 Ti used. That's probably a good value.
Yeah, I think
that was a great card.
350, 400-ish.
That was a fantastic card. But if I was looking to buy one new, then of all the ones that have come out, probably a 4070 Ti.
Yeah.
Hate to say it. That's the truth. This is why I feel like a bit of a rock and a hard place, because it's an unpopular opinion, but I've got to tell my truth, right? That's what I'm here to do. And I feel bad saying that. I feel like I shouldn't. I feel like I'm not allowed to say that. I'm not allowed to say I would buy that product. This is why I found all these videos actually quite difficult, because I feel like you get a tax for it.
Yeah.
But that's honestly the truth. So sorry.
Can you fix the fan? People are screaming in the chat that it's not straight.
Oh, it's not straight. Sorry. Can we stop talking about the 4070 Ti now, please? It keeps coming back up.
I've got a super chat, which is ironic. How good is the RTX 3090 Ti?
No, don't buy it. Done.
Don't buy it.
Unless you need 24 gig of VRAM, don't buy it. It is too loud, uses too much power. I was not a fan. If you're really that level of, you need that amount of performance, look at getting like a
new card.
One of the new cards, either a AMD one or an NVIDIA one. I would not buy a 3090 Ti.
The 3090 Ti used is still around the £1,000.
Even if it was used, I wouldn't.
It's still around £1,000.
I wouldn't spend 500-600 quid on it. For me,
No.
it's too loud. I didn't like it. I took it out.
And it uses like 450 watts.
Yeah, it's too loud. You're just too loud.
It's just too loud.
Yeah. Have people left now? I've said that I would buy that card. Are people upset? What have I done? What have I done?
Concurrent viewers, 820 concurrent viewers.
Have we actually? Jeez. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Have people been liking this heated debate then about the 4070
I think
Ti?
so. There's a lot of people. Some people are saying it is the card to get.
This is a terrible design on this case. This is the MAG Vampiric 100R. I paid about 50 quid or so for this. It's a budget-friendly case. It's not got the best airflow in the world. It's got like half a mesh panel, so it's fine. But because this is more for a budget-friendly build, it's not actually going to be an issue, in my opinion. I know if you want to buy a full mesh case, then do, but you're just not going to be putting enough power into this rig for it to really make too much difference. Yes, continue. Sorry.
What was I saying? I completely lost what I was saying.
You were saying about the chat, a lot of people talking about the 4070 Ti.
Yeah. Some people are asking about the adapter for the 4070 Ti. What does it look like? It's exactly the same, except you just have...
Oh, well, no, it's not, is it? Because it's 2.
It's 2 instead of 3.
Yeah.
Or 2 instead of 4. Any of them open?
Yeah. Well, what happened to it? Is it still in the
I
rig?
think it's in that box.
But the graphics card's not. What did I just say?
I said it was in the box.
No, before all of that. Can we not talk about the 4070 Ti anymore? And yet here we are. Here's the adapter. Look,
it's
two-way. This is actually not too bad. This is basically the same as the last gen one. So if you got on with a 3080, you got on with this. But I know if you live in the US, Cable Mod are now actually shipping some cables that will do this. Or you can buy a power supply like the new one from Cooler Master that we tested on the channel, at least used on a couple of builds. The last 2 builds had the new Cooler Master one that has a Gen 5 connector as standard, so you don't have to worry about any adapters. Right, blacklisted from this video for at least a while. We're not saying the 40-something again, okay? At least for a while.
To the 4050 Ti. At £400.
Honestly, it friggin' will be. The 4050 for £405. Something stupid like that, honestly. Oh, God. That's the worrying thing, because don't forget, the most budget-friendly GPU last gen was actually an old one. They just never got rid of them. They were still selling 2060s, and they were still selling even like 1650s. Oh, it's a budget-friendly GPU. Yeah, so this is the cheapest one that you can get right now, and this is still, what, 200 quid at least, I think? Anyway, right, let's... This was meant to be a budget-friendly build. This was not meant to be this. We should have just called this Marcus Rants for a bit. That would have been a more appropriate title.
Marcus rants about the 4070 Ti while building a budget PC.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Yeah. Anyway, so it's blacklisted now. So we're actually going to talk about.
Oh, here we go. We've got some questions and some super chats to.
Before I forget, note to Carl later. As soon as we end this stream, we have to make sure. There might be an option there. Can you turn it off so that this doesn't automatic archive?
Maybe.
Or no, actually don't turn. No, leave it archived. Leave it archived. It's fine. But we need to remember to cut out the start when there was no audio, okay? Because if we forget and we leave that bad. Right, you're saying, chat.
Limitless Eternal. Thoughts on the MSI RTX 3080 gaming 10 gig or 12 gig?
I think 10 gig is probably the way to go, purely just because there's not really any performance difference, and 10 gig's still enough for most people. That
was like an actual 10 gig or 12 gig thing, not like the 4080 12 gig, 16 gig thing.
Yeah, which is even more confusing, right? It's stupid. But in my experience, the 3080 12 gigs have always been a fair bit more expensive, so haven't been worth it unless you know you're going to need the memory.
No. We've got another one from Johnny Newlands.
What?
Another super chat.
Oh,
£10
wow.
from Johnny.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh my god, the chat's just flown off. Hi, I'm building my first gaming PC using a 3060 Ventus OC with a Ryzen 5 5600 and a Strix B550F. Is there anything you would change or recommend?
So do that again. Strix B450.
B550.
B550.
Ryzen 5 5600X. And a MSI 3060 Ventus OC 12 gig.
If you're happy with Ryzen, then that's fine, because you can upgrade to a 5800X 3D. Just be aware that you will have better longevity at the moment with an Intel. There's not one there, that'll be right. You'll have better longevity with an Intel system at the moment, which sounds a bit weird, but you can always upgrade that to like a 13th gen CPU or something if you go for like a B660 board or something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go previous gen, just be aware the highest you can get for gaming is a 5800X 3D. That might be absolutely fine, especially if you're going to buy the components used, but that is something you'll have to be aware of, whereas you'll get newer features with the Intel system. But I'll probably go for whatever's the best value, really. That's what most people care about for gaming, and it seems that people don't talk about that enough at the moment. Is this in focus? Are we in focus?
Yeah, the other thing to mention would be that AMD have just announced more processors today, so like the...
Oh yeah, they have. We haven't spoken about those, actually.
The 7600 non-X.
Yeah.
Now we've got non-X versions of the 7700 and 3D versions of...
There's everything going on,
everything.
isn't there?
Plus all the Intel non-K CPUs all got announced.
Have they? I'm out of the loop, so I can't leak anything because I don't know what we can and can't talk about because I'm not saying anything, so it's not me.
Yeah, that's all been announced today. I don't know the pricing or anything like that. I think it's just Intel confirms whatever CPU, i3, 12, 13100 and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They usually announce them about like 6 months after the original.
Yeah, well, I think the main thing really that caught my eye was the 3D versions of all of the Ryzen ones, because they've gone for 3, which is pretty cool. 3 different SKUs, which basically means you're not limited to just 8 cores, whereas you were with the previous gen. The Intel
CPUs, you can buy it right now. 13400F. You can buy it right now for £209.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Quite good.
I've just realised that loads of standoffs aren't actually in this, which is really quite annoying. Why did they do that? They've only put these ones in. They really don't expect you to do like a high-end build in this, do they? That's annoying. So we're going to put the standoffs in now, which are these little screws here, and they need to go in these holes like that. You have to make sure you do these really tight though, because otherwise, when you undo your screw the other side, the standoff sort of doesn't stay in place. It comes off. It
comes off with the screw, and you have to get pliers out. And
yeah, which is not the end of the world, but it's just a pain. This is why I like it when they actually install it for you. But yeah, take over the video, Carl. Let's have some chat. What are people saying? Let's read some chats.
I just see somebody's already bought the 13400 already. I think I just missed
that. So is it pre-order or is it live?
It says add to basket.
Okay.
So,
I mean, we don't have one here. This is why I'm saying about us not leaking anything, because I didn't even know. So I might have got an email about it, and I probably didn't read it because I'm silly.
It says arrives on Saturday the 7th of January. So you can buy it, and you will have that in your system at the weekend, which is quite cool.
Pretty cool.
Especially considering it's about £100 cheaper than the 13600K, and it's.
So what's it called again? Sorry.
13400F.
13400F, and the price is
£209.
Wow, that is pretty good actually. I mean, even with a little bit of inflation, that's not bad, because the previous one was about 180, 190, so that's basically the same price. Yeah. That chip is going to rock. Yeah. That is going to rock. So it seems that we're in the best sort of time for CPUs, but GPUs are not, which if you're fairly new to PC gaming, it was the flip of that not when I got into PC gaming, but when the channel, this channel sort of became a little bit bigger, you had the card that was heralded as like the best value, which was the RX 480. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then the 470, which was basically the same performance for even slightly less.
Yeah.
But you were talking about like 20, 30 pounds difference between those cards. Whereas now, every SKU seems to be £100 different, £150 different.
Yeah.
Those were the days. But then the problem was all of the CPUs were quad cores, and I don't even think AMD were doing enticing CPUs at all, were they? You had like, was it the FX? What was it called? The 6800 or something? What was it? What was it called?
8350 and things like that. My AMD knowledge pre-Ryzen is poor because they weren't relevant, basically.
Yeah, it was like you'd get the real hardcore AMD people would go for those, and there was only very select applications they would make sense it for. Yeah. Most people would just be like, oh, you buy an Intel CPU. but because of that, they were always quad-core, a bit like NVIDIA with the high-end GPUs. Slightly better now, you've got AMD doing them, but they still obviously can't touch the 4090. But if AMD and Intel get their act together and start releasing a load of graphics cards for less, then the same sort of thing would happen. But yeah, oops. It was pretty cool because you could get graphics cards that were like proper mid-range for about 200 quid. Right, are we in? I know I've missed a standoff there, but it's not going to matter. Not my official advice.
Not my official advice.
I like how you've been adding notes, by the way, to my videos. Or I should say our videos. They're our videos, but you know what I mean. I'm going to burp, by the way. Oh, that's horrible, sorry. Yeah, notes to my videos, like when I'm doing overhead. And I'm like, oh yeah, so you just
just
screw this here. So, oh, Marcus hasn't got used to the overhead camera yet. Because that's what you sound like, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my natural voice. I just put this on for live streams.
Yeah.
We've got a super chat that's just come in from Lewis Jeffries. Thanks for the content, Marcus. You've inspired me to build my first gaming PC.
Well, that is the purpose of the channel, because that's what happened with me and building my first PC, and I've never looked back. I absolutely love it. It's great. I don't know what's wrong with that standoff, but it'll be right.
Also, another fun thing.
So yes, thank you so much. Was that
13100F, £120.
Oh, so new. Is that still a quad core though, or is that?
It's still a quad core though, which is a bit.
Oh, imagine if it had like an extra 2 in it, an extra 2 cores. That'd be so good.
13400 is 10 core 16 thread. It's quite a big difference now between 10 core 16 and 4 core 8 thread.
Yeah. I mean, the i3, for me, the purpose of the i3 is it's a starter CPU. You buy that knowing you'll probably upgrade to an i7 in a couple of years' time or whenever you need it.
Yeah.
Whereas the i5 is the chip you buy and the chip you keep. Does that make sense? So it's like...
Until you need to upgrade again.
Yeah, because in my mind, there's no point buying a £120 CPU to upgrade to a £170 CPU. Maybe you can, but if you were doing it later, you'd probably be isolating, right, I want the best CPU, and you'd probably step up a little bit. I'm sure there are plenty of people that will get good deals and upgrade things though, but by the time you've bought something and sold it, you obviously make a loss. So you'd be better off just waiting a little bit more, saving up, buying the i5 over the i3 if you know that's the chip you want. That's the best way of describing it. Have I plugged this fan in? No.
Well, it's going to be a bit awkward now.
No, it's fine. CPU fan, there we go.
We've got a comment here from Joe Panico. Just curious, in today's market, would you consider using RX 6500 XT for
No.
Even if it was $129?
Oh, I mean, that is pretty cheap. Yeah, okay, maybe. The problem is, it's...
With a 4600G.
If my memory serves me correctly, the performance was a lot less, wasn't it, than a 6600? And because it didn't have the encoder in it, it meant that you couldn't, like, save your game footage and replays and things, which might not bother you at all, because I'm probably out of touch because I use the feature every day. But even just generally when I'm playing games with my friends, like playing a bit of Formula 1, you know, when it's like, oh, you took me out, you were too far over. It's like, no, I wasn't. Having the ability to save those clips and then just put it in the WhatsApp group and be like, ha, I was fine, is really useful, and I wouldn't want to go without that. So if you don't have the encoder, it means that you can't have like the live replay without it tanking your FPS, basically. So
I think you can get better cards at that same sort of used price anyway.
I'd probably want like a 2060. That's probably a bit more, but even like 1650 or something.
1660 for that sort of price, maybe a little bit more. But also with the 6500 XT, you have to use it with PCIe Gen 4. It, like with the Gen 3, it just was like,
oh, of course it was.
30-40% less performance, which was the big killer for it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That card was. Here's the difference, right, between the 6500 XT. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or was it the 6500
XT?
Is 6500 a thing?
No, there's a 6400.
No, so the 6500 versus the now released 4070 Ti. 4070 Ti is very good product, terribly launched, price that I think we all agree is too high for what it should be, right? But the product's great. Like, you would love to have it in your system. The 6500 XT is just not good.
Just a bad product.
But forget about the price. It's unless it was really cheap
or free.
It's not great, right? I've done a build with it once, and that was it. And we basically said it's bad. So, yeah, I mean, you've got to be talking about 100 quid, maybe, but it's all relative to everything else. It's not one I would want in my PC, put it that way. Was that a good answer?
Yeah. Basically, no matter how cheap it is, don't buy it. There'll be something...
No, that's not quite true. If it was dirt cheap...
There'll be something more or less close enough performance.
There's probably better options, right?
Yeah.
That's not USB, that's COM1. That's why I'm getting confused. What even is COM1? Does anyone know? Has anyone ever used COM1?
I've never used COM1.
No. No, so what we're doing now is the I/O anyway of this build. I realise this has turned into less of a budget build and more of like Marcus ranting. But that's good, it gets this energy out and it means I can sleep well at night. But we're now plugging in all of the cables anyway. This is the other side of the case. It's a very bare bones chassis. It's not the best one out there, but by the time you've built it, I think it looked quite nice. You've got this strong RGB vein on the front. This is why it's very popular. This is actually one of, if not the most popular case on Amazon. Maybe it's not, but it is very high up there. It's very well, it sells very well, which is why I wanted to use it for this budget build. Bought this one myself, wasn't even a review sample. Over to you, Carl.
I suppose it's worth mentioning that we've got 2,570 votes on our GPU poll.
How many? Hey?
I've just left it running the whole time.
That's good.
It's still going up. I'm going to wait until we hit, because it's at 56 minutes at the moment. So
2,800 votes. Wow.
So my OCD will kick in and I'll stop it.
That's
at
a
60
lot.
minutes.
If only we'd sold that many mouse mats, we'd be laughing.
Be laughing. Drowning in mouse mats.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was actually almost a possibility, wasn't it? I was genuinely thinking it was a good idea to order 2,000 mouse mats and ship them myself and have them here. That really would have been bad. So I'm glad we didn't do that. Let's go to the overhead now, and we can plug these cables in. Zoom back in so you guys can see what we're doing. A little bit of focus. Sorry for the shaky shake. It should stop in a second. So we've got HD audio down here, this one. I'm going to plug that in. Rant about graphics cards.
There's a few more 4070 Ti comments. We're just going to skip it because somebody did say, I thought we weren't talking about the 4070.
Yeah, no, we're not. That was a fair comparison, though. That was a logical reason to bring it up, though.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, the most appropriately titled review I saw was Andy E. Technics, friend of the channel, when he was saying his title was something like, brilliant performance, terrible price. I think that's not clickbait, it's going to get less clicks, but it's true.
Yeah, you know, it is what it, he said it exactly how it is.
It is how it is. However, just because it's a terrible price, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not got the performance that you want and need, so.
But more importantly, we're now plugging in the...
Plugging in the USB 3 there. If you had USB Type-C, it's up here at the top, but this chassis doesn't have it because it's more budget friendly. Then we have all of these tiny cables here. One of them says reset, power, power LED, HD LED. I always start down the bottom. This is going to get very fiddly now. I don't know if you can see. You can't see. Let's do it like this. So we go for camera 4. For some reason, Carl didn't plug camera 1 in because we don't have 4 cameras. It's because we've labelled them.
It's because we've labelled them that way.
Yeah.
We did it wrong once.
We plugged them in down the bottom at the right-hand side. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
That's fine.
Oh, no, it's not fine because now you've gone silent.
That's because I feel like you was doing something important, but you was being quiet as well.
Oh, well, there we go. Between us, we've been quiet.
Yeah. Front I/O.
Front I/O, power switch, reset, all of those. The way I remember them is power is on the right. Or I should say power's on the right. I've ruined it. Power's on the top, and then switches are on the right. So by logical process of elimination, you should be able to work out that the power switch is power, so it's at the top, and it's a switch, so it's on the right. Top, right. Reset is not power, but it's a switch, which means it's the bottom, right. power LEDs. You guessed it, it's at the top because it's power, but it's not the switch, so it's on the left. Does that make sense? Well, it does, because I've been using that. I know these well. HD LEDs. That's not power, and it's not a switch.
So it goes on the left.
It goes on the left and at the bottom.
Yeah.
See, it does actually work.
Remembered.
Are you going to use that now?
No, I'll never remember that.
Oh yeah, you will. Come on.
It does say on the motherboard where to plug them in, though.
Yeah, but you don't want to look at the manual because we're
Yeah, but
lazy.
it's printed on the motherboard. It says HD.
Yeah, it does. You need a magnifying glass for that. So that's not even like a bad idea to say to people. So, oh, to build a PC, you need a magnifying glass. It would actually be quite useful for your first build, though. Like, it sounds stupid, but it's probably not the most ridiculous idea I've ever had.
Oh, we've got a €2 super chat, sorry.
Oh, thank you very much.
Limitless Eternal again. I think they did one earlier.
Oh, that's very nice.
A monitor in mind. They put Spectrum 4K 144 Hz. I think it means the Eve Spectrum.
Yes, Eve Spectrum, I think. Yeah, heard of those. Yeah.
Didn't they have a little... I swear they've renamed their company, haven't they?
Maybe. I'm out of the loop with that.
They've renamed from Eve to Doe.
Okay, not sure why. We've just done the addressable RGB, sorry, which is up here, top left. I'll show you on the old overhead. Just here, look. You see? That makes sense? Magical. It's hard to see. Oh, it's because I haven't pressed this button. What's the button I want? Is it PGM? Yeah, there you go. I should have done that ages ago. I've just made my feed full screen. Full screen, that's the one, so I can actually see what I'm doing. How are we doing for time? Oh, we've got loads of time. I've made a mistake.
What have you done?
I've made a mistake.
You've not put an IO shield on it.
Oh no. Oh no.
That's the way it's staying.
Oh, for goodness sake. I'll tell you why. It's because I was ranting about a graphics card that we don't talk about anymore. So, sorry guys. This is very unprofessional. If this was an actual PC-centric video, I would...
Take it all apart.
I would just... no one would ever know because we'd edit it together. But because I'm a professional, I am going to show you how you would restore this, which is unfortunately to take everything out and pop it in, which is pretty annoying, but there we go. I bet people love that in the chat. People love watching me fail.
The classic, lol, rip IO shield.
Rip.
Yeah.
But it's better that I find out than people realise later and you have to tell me once everything else is in. So let's take this as a positive. This is the professional way to build a PC, by the way. Always do as I do, because clearly I'm a genius. Yeah, that's bad. Sorry. Over to what's going on with the chat.
Yeah, I was going to say
You're doing super
asked
chats.
about the Doe Spectrum 4K.
They're meant to be quite good, aren't they?
I think it's meant to be quite good. I think it's just you have like this weird sort of buying phase where you can't just buy it now. You have to wait like weeks or months for it to arrive.
Yeah.
I think
there's always a catch with these things because it doesn't matter what the product is. You always get these products that come along and they set to like revolutionize something, right? And the problem is that, as I say, there's usually a catch. So that could be like, oh, there's one screw still in. It could be that it's the product's not as good. Like with monitors, like sometimes the experience of an experienced brand does give you just better either longevity or less flaws, shall we say, in the product. But in this case, yeah, it's that you can't get hold of them very easily. But I hear good things.
Yeah, they said either they've left another comment saying, "Do I save the 1K and spend it on a 3090?" I would say if you were looking at monitors,
3090. I don't.
That seems a bit.
I wouldn't get.
I wouldn't buy a 3090 for that price anyway. Maybe used, they're not too bad. They're around like £700. But if you was looking at a £1,000 monitor, you know, look at like the QD OLEDs from Samsung and Alienware.
Oh yeah, the Alienware's great. That's what.
Yeah, a lot better than.
When you had your staff training, you were using that monitor here, weren't you? Did you like it?
I did. It was nice and colourful, nice and bright.
Yeah.
Oh, we've also got a question here. Rainmaker, thoughts on BenQ Mobius monitors?
You use one.
I currently have one.
Yeah, you use one.
Marcus gave me.
Yeah, I should say that one wasn't purchased. The main review was actually that it was a very good monitor. It was just too expensive.
Yeah.
But that was at that time. That was at launch, so it might have come down now. Because again, that's the thing that's the difference between the 6500 XT and products maybe like the Mobius. You can have good products at the wrong price, which makes them, not good.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Knock the price down a bit. It's a great product for the price.
if you go to a restaurant and you buy a horrible dish, I mean, it doesn't matter how much you paid for it. It's not good, is it? Whereas you can have a really good dish at the wrong price.
Yeah. That steak was great, but it was very expensive as opposed to...
That was horrible.
That was horrible. I might have food poisoning, but it was cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that soup was really good, but, it had food poisoning. Do you want to know something really weird that happened not that long ago? I arranged a lovely little meal out with my parents and Thea's parents.
Yeah.
And both the mums ordered the exact same dish, which was this vegetarian, like mushroom dish, and couscous, like this Moroccan-y thing. And I'm sorry if Mum won't be listening. Who cares? She doesn't know what she's talking about. She won't be watching this. She told me never to tell anyone. But she was violently ill in the toilet during the actual meal. Like by the time so do you want dessert? No, disappeared. No. And she was violently ill, but then Thea's mum was absolutely fine. The exact same dish, cooked clearly the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a bad mushroom or something. How weird is that though? Never really known people get food poisoning when I've been out and about.
Not immediately anyway. Usually
it
takes a good while.
Yeah, weird. Food poisoning tips with PC Centric. But yeah, you can have good products and bad products, but bad products can either be bad because they're bad or bad because the price is wrong. That's the theme of today's video, is it not? What's going on in the chat anyway? How are we doing for viewers?
Concurrent viewers, 743.
That's very, very good. Thank you so much
solid.
for everyone that's joining us this evening. Please get your questions in. This is the point of these. We want to hear your feedback. We want this to be our channel rather than the channel.
Limitless Eternal has done another super chat. They've done it on behalf of someone, which is quite cute.
Oh.
Question was from Crunchy. They've got $2,000 budget. Which graphics card should I get? 4090?
No, you know what I'm going to say.
The 4070 Ti.
No, it depends. It depends whether you want to go for used or not, and what you're going to do. With that budget, you might just be able to sneak in a RX 7900 XT or XTX.
They've got $2,000.
Yeah, exactly. If you're sensible with it, you might be able to do that. But well, the build we did yesterday was on the cheap.
That was £1,700 it was.
Yeah, so that is about $2,000 probably though. That's the thing. So that's why I immediately jumped to the 4070 Ti. But if you're smart about it, you might be able to sneak an AMD card in if you want.
Yeah.
As I say, that's the reality. This is why I'm so heated about this GPU. Everyone's more. I think the anger is that it exists for that price, and that's the situation we're in. But if you're in that situation and you have to buy something, then you are unfortunately looking at like 4070 Ti or maybe a 7900 XT for that sort of budget if you're going to go new.
Yeah. A lot of people aren't happy with the XT either because it's so close to the other one and the price is too high. Yeah.
It's all just really annoying. But again, as I'm using the XT at the moment, not because I did a little upgrade in the same sort of power envelope, and I've been happy with the performance. If I bought it, I'm sure I would be happy. It's just the perfect product doesn't exist, but it seems that all of them are just too expensive. Oh dear. How do we keep coming back to it? It's just that this is a plant. It's a contentious issue. But think that's what you're looking at anyway, assuming you don't need anything special. As soon as you go for a really fancy case, fancy fans and things, then you're actually looking at something probably like a used 3080, I would say. But it depends what you prioritize, frame rate or everything else, balance, don't know. Right, that's in. Let's move on now to power supply. We are actually almost done. I reckon I could have speed built this very quickly, but it's been too renty, isn't it? Sorry, guys. Power supply we're using is this one from EVGA. This is the 600W2. It's a bit of a weird one because I know if you're in the US or a different sort of area for whatever reason, power supplies do vary. So if we've not linked it down below, that's why. But products links to everything are down below, by the way. We're still at camera 2, it's still alive. I thought the battery had run out by now. But there we go. Let's open this up. Here it is. Zoom out just a little bit. This is 80 plus rated. Maybe that's why you can't buy it in the US, because it's not efficient enough. I don't know. It's fine for what people what people care about, but it's not very efficient. This is a very budget-friendly power supply, but hopefully one that should be fairly reliable for years to come. Never really know, but just buy from a reputable brand. Tends to be my advice.
EVGA power supplies usually lasts for years.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't test power supplies, like some people do, so there'll be more knowledgeable people than I on that, but I've had no issues with this so far, I don't think. Or maybe one of them was a little bit loud, but there we go. But you can see this isn't a modular power supply, so all of these cables, look, are actually attached to the power supply, so cable management is going to be more difficult. But then the catch-22 is that, well, not catch-22 is not the right phrase. Basically, because it's a more budget-friendly power supply, there are less cables. I pretty much had the worst of both worlds with my first ever power supply. I bought one from Corsair, it's the GS800, and it had enough power for SLI. So you had so many cables coming off it, but it was not modular. So that one was a nightmare to manage. That was actually one that was highly not recommended. But I didn't know, I just bought it because it was Corsair. I didn't know better when I built my first gaming PC. Over to you, Carl.
Yeah, I think I've just seen somebody in the chat just said EVGA power supplies are very good. They just seem to go under the radar in the UK due to other brands. That's Big Cheggers pointed that out.
Yeah, well, companies like your Corsairs, I think. And the weird thing is, right, when you get into PC gaming, you tend to hear about brands that have spent the largest marketing budget. That's the truth. Obviously, some brands are better than others. But generally, the bigger the company is, the more power supplies they sell, the more marketing they can do, and they sort of go up like that. Whereas ones that have maybe a smaller marketing budget and sell less, even though they could be just as good, like you say, they're a bit more under the radar just because they're not shouting about themselves so much. And we typically tend to associate names we've heard before with good products, but that doesn't always work that way, right? I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. I reckon most people probably, when they buy a car, tend to buy the same sort of brands that their parents have had, because that's just what they know.
Yeah.
They have no evidence that they're good cars necessarily. It's just, my parents had them, so let's go with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Mum and Dad had no issues with that one, so I'll get that one.
Yeah, it's kind of like a...
You see that's what you see day to day, and you think...
Phenomenon.
That was okay.
Yeah, exception being if your parents had a car that was breaking down all the time.
Yeah,
and you'd be like, I'm not buying that.
Exactly.
But yeah, there we go. Yeah, over to you, Carl. Run the show for a bit.
Yeah, some people just said Seasonic. Are they a good power supply?
Oh, Seasonic, really good.
Seasonic, probably one of the best, to be honest.
Yeah.
They give like 12-year warranties,
Stuff like that, they're serious.
Yeah, I think EVGA give like 10-year warranties on some of their more
top
expensive
end. Yeah, it's always
ones.
the top end stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's never going to be this sort of level.
Yeah, but a lot of companies like that, they do. Same with Be Quiet, I think they give like 7 or 8 years as well on their power supplies. It's hard to justify how many years is too many or not enough, but if you...
Yeah, longer warranties are usually a sign of better quality, but then obviously if they're better quality, but then they make more noise and things that might annoy people. I'm a bit of a silence freak. I really want my PCs to be as quiet as possible.
Yeah.
But I guarantee a lot of people watching this haven't actually ever run a fan tuning utility for their PC, and their PC is probably a lot louder than it would need to be. No fault of their own, they just don't almost realise that they can make their PC quieter.
Yeah.
Source being me, when I did my first PC, I was running it with like flat out fans and stuff for like years. Just didn't know. I mean, it's not naivety, or I suppose it is, but it's just, it's not wasn't necessarily my fault. I just didn't know what you could do, I suppose.
No, the same with you get some cases might have like the case fans that are just Molex or something, and you can't adjust the fan speed. So if you don't know that you can replace that fan for say £3 or £4 with a PWM version, you're not gonna. You won't.
Yeah, but then also on the contrary,
Contrary?
On the country.
Fans
themselves vary in quality. So I've known Molex fans that have run at much lower RPMs and are just silent, but they run flat out, versus cheap customizable 3-pins that sound like a jet engine taking off. So even as I've now discovered doing a lot more really budget end builds, just because you have a Molex fan, it doesn't actually mean that it's terrible. It means that it probably doesn't have such good cooling performance, but
just a pain to plug in.
For pain to plug in, and for a rig like this, you don't need loads of cooling. So
No.
there's a lot more to it than that. But yeah, if you're watching this,
super chat.
Oh, super chat. Yeah, I was going to say, if you're watching this and you want us to read out your name, you want a little bit of a shout out, just let us know. Even if you don't have a question, just say shout out.
Shout out.
Don't. If you say it twice, you're banned. You're not. But say it, if you say it twice, we won't shout you out.
You say it once.
If you say it once, we will. Carl has 2 fingers, he can scroll.
I've got to quickly read this super chat from John. Hi from Dubai, love your channel.
Dubai.
Did any other content creators inspire/influence your videos in the beginning or even now? And who else do you enjoy following?
That's a very good question actually. Firstly, is Dubai good? I've never been, and it is actually on my radar to go. I would like that. Is it a good place to visit? Let me know. I know about Emirates, flying Emirates, but that's all I know about Dubai really. People have gone, it's hot.
It is hot.
It's hot.
There's a lot of people saying shout out now.
Yes, that's good. But yeah, I'd roll it off. My favourite YouTube channel is probably Kurtzger's Art. That's why we have all of the posters here. Just got some new ones actually in today that I've given to Thea, which is nice. They did 2 posters where there's like a spaceman floating in space by the moon looking at the Earth, and there's someone back on Earth looking up and sort of seeing the spaceman and the moon. Because she's at uni and because I'm here, I thought it'd be nice. Got a framed poster for us to have one each, and then one is on the wall here, and then the other one is in her uni place, so it's almost like looking, you know you're together, even though, you know what I mean? I thought that was really nice anyway. They're a good channel. For camera stuff, I really like Gerald Undone, he's great. And then for like PC gaming and things, all of the big guys really. I enjoy Gamers Nexus videos, Linus, like all of them really. Everyone brings something different to the party, but I don't watch all of them because you want to do things your own way. I mean, I'm very much like I focus on the consumer from I'm a gamer. If I'm trying to play a game, what do I need to play it? Let's build the best PC possible within a budget. That's almost like my niche now, isn't it? But yeah, I enjoy a lot of different channels. I hope that's helped.
Yeah.
Right, go on then. Do us the shout outs.
I've got to do, there's a lot of them to do. I think I'll scroll all the way to the top and see if I can...
Scroll the top and then I'll like make some noise.
Okay.
Like a soundtrack, and you can do it. Ready?
Zombie 2X, XD. Where's the next one? Jazz Jeevan, Graham Neal, Harold Roman, Unicorn Spice, or Space is an X, I'm not sure what they mean. Fade 187, Fabrizio Damilano, Minna.
I'm going to stop humming now.
Anko. Oh, there's a super jet there, I missed that one.
Oh, we can't miss those.
Oh.
Those are the big deal.
Sorry, shout-out's going to have to wait. High voltage with a 9.
Danger.
Instead of a G.
High voltage.
£4.49. Is this a good idea? Buying all future-proof parts. i7 Z790, DDR5 RAM.
Yeah, you have to say that. You went a bit quiet, sorry.
Okay. Is this a good idea? Buying all future-proof parts. i7 Z790, DDR5 RAM, and using a 2060 for now, as that's what I have until I've got enough cash.
No. As discussed, like I know, obviously, right, my job is literally to promote my own videos. I can't stress enough, Carl will back this up. If you're thinking about DDR5, I'm not saying that's a bad decision, because it's not, but please be informed about what that means and what differences that's going to make to you and your frame rates. Watch the video I made about a couple of weeks ago. It's basically, what was it called? Like, is DDR5 worth it? DDR4?
Are you wasting your money?
Oh yeah, are you wasting your money? Oh, you're probably wasting your money, DDR4 versus DDR5. Title kind of gives a little bit of the story away, really, doesn't it? Please watch that video, because we go through everything you need to know. And a lot of people watched that, they almost didn't understand as well. It was like, but it's not fair that you're testing 16 gig of DDR4 versus 32 of DDR5. That was the point. If you can get the same frame rate with RAM that's not only cheaper, but half the capacity, so it's like over double cheap,
half the price.
Under half the price.
Price.
Then is DDR5 really worth it? That's kind of the point. But watch that video, gives you all you need to know. No, I wouldn't bother future-proofing. Spend all your money on your graphics card you can. It's possible, really. Probably an i7's a good CPU, but I don't know when B760's coming out or whatever. Yeah, B760. Probably go for that, or B660 with a BIOS update. Right, graphics card time now. Oh, you knew we're doing... We're end the shout-outs.
The poll's still going. Do you want to end the shout-out? Shout-out time is over.
Sorry.
Sorry, Ghosty X Gaming. You're going to be the last one.
Or you can say my favourite gag, which is you say the name and you go, I'm really sorry, Carl. I'm not going to shout you out because we're out of time.
But you did say the name.
That's it. Yeah, you can do that if you want as well. But the time has come to determine which graphics card we're using. I almost started singing and then was petrified. Petrified's not the right word. Embarrassed and stopped and then realised I was then standing on one leg, kind of frozen. So that's why that was a bit weird. But that's fine. It's graphics card time. What one are we going for? The poll. If I was a betting man, I would say people have said 3060.
Yep, you're correct.
Okay.
3,300 votes.
3,000.
62%, 3060.
Right, so we'll start at the bottom.
10%, 3050.
Oh, really? That's
10%.
interesting.
That's 330
So this
people wanted that.
No good, apparently. I'm not saying it's no good, but you don't want it.
28%.
Second place. This one. The risk. The risk. It's all right. I haven't dropped one yet.
Yet. 28% for the 6600.
Okay, so it's a pretty landslide victory then.
Massive.
For the 3060.
34% more wanted the 3060.
I would say let's go to the overhead, but it's died. Because I can't afford an extension lead. Let's be honest, I can afford it. I just, for some reason, haven't ordered one. The £6 or whatever it would be eludes me. But there we go. So you had to make do with old-fashioned 2 camera.
Old-fashioned 2.
So loud.
Mute. I think he's muted the mic. You've muted me?
No.
I am talking. I'm waiting for you to open it.
I'm saying hold the fort.
I'm holding the fort. Just pull it out of the bag. Get it in the computer.
Hooray! We're back. There we go. So this is the Eagle. It's really small. I like the Eagle cards because they're a little bit cheaper.
Cheaper.
They're a little bit cheaper,
Like a
but
bird.
they don't really look it. They look more affordable, but like, honestly, who cares whether your graphics card is made of a load of metal when it's really solid in the hand? It's going to play games. Either it plays games well and is quiet and is cool, or it's not. The rest doesn't really matter to me, right? This is going back to the graphics card rant. It's okay. I've only hurt myself just a little bit. It's okay. Ow. No one saw that. Don't worry, it's fine. We'll cut that out of the video, won't we? I've actually somehow hurt my hand. I think this dug in there and it's like, ow. But yeah, no one saw that, so it's fine, right?
No, I'm sure it's fine.
No one's mentioning it in the chat, I'm sure.
No, no one will mention it.
Oh no, these are the bendy ones. And you meant to do that before you... Oh, blow. Ugh. It's all right. Oh, it's okay. Oh, it's all good. Panic over. But you should do this before you put your motherboard in, really. Otherwise you can snap things.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Well, I've only ever damaged one motherboard. So that's one too many if you ask me.
Which one?
I don't know, but it went back to, I think it was MSI or Asus or whatever, and it went back and they really lovingly sent me a replacement, which was nice. But these actually aren't too bad because the slots aren't as wide as other ones, so you can get that bend. Best way of getting these out is like the double bend.
The double bend?
Yeah, so you're like back and forth, full back and forth, and it should just come
At least
out
it's
like
only
that.
2 slots.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Right, should we do a little comparison? Here is a 3060 Eagle. Here is a card also from Gigabyte, not sponsored. Yeah. That's just ridiculous, isn't it? Like I don't need to say anything, do I? It's absurd! Yeah. So that has been Marcus just lining up graphics cards next to each other for another episode. Get subscribed. There you go. That is insane, isn't it? And the irony
it's
is
like
as
it's
well.
not even the same thing.
No, I know. Well, it basically isn't, right?
It's
But
like a PS5.
I was going to say the irony is, especially if you're playing at 1080p, I don't reckon you'd really. Bold words. I don't reckon you'd notice much difference in like Valorant or Apex Legends with that over that. Most people.
No, probably not.
Obviously, you get a much higher frame rate, lower latency, all of that stuff. But I'm saying if you got an average Joe, PCs under the table, you know, like medium settings, would they notice a difference?
Probably not.
If you had a frame rate counter open, obviously, but that's not the point. Maybe that's a video we should do. Set up in the high street, all these PCs, see if people can notice the difference. So we're going to line this up with our slotlet, whack that in. Actually goes nicely with this motherboard. There we go, just like that.
Somebody said you versus the guy she told you not to worry about, with regards to GPUs.
Yeah. Screw this in. Here's the thing, right? I reckon. No, that's a very weird tangent. We're not doing that. We're actually, seriously, we're going to go into guys tells you not to worry about territory, which is yeah, it's all good. Let's not go there.
I thought it was quite funny that when we were setting up this live stream, the 4090 Master is actually bigger than the entire PC.
Yeah, you did, because as a bit of a joke, didn't you?
I was just like, oh, I know it won't fit, but
how badly won't it fit?
It's bigger than the PC.
There we go. Look, how's that? Oh, wait, I need to be able to see. Yeah, there you go. Ta-da! It's bigger. I mean, that makes it look ridiculous. It's not that bad. It's like that. But yeah. The Master is the biggest one. That's why we always go to that. Other brands are available. As I say, this is not sponsored by Gigabyte. We do work with them quite a lot, which is great. But obviously, if we say it's not sponsored by Gigabyte, it's not sponsored by Gigabyte. But Gigabyte Eagle cards are actually ones I rate very highly. So it's kind of easy.
The Eagle's kind of replaced like was it the Wind Force?
Yes, I think so. I don't know why they'd get rid of that brand, but they seem to have done it. So
yeah,
don't really.
Now it's just Wind Force fans on
the
Gigabyte Eagle.
We're going to plug this in now. Just one connection. Look, don't need to have people telling me never to daisy chain because you only need one. It's one 8-pin. See, think how good a 40 series card, that a 4060 would be. If it wasn't going to be ludicrously expensive.
Just the one regular.
Like 4060, you know, priced at 300 quid. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Happy days. But, you know, evidently not. That'll do. It's going to be slightly twisted no matter what, just because the way the cable lies. Well, that'll do. And there we go. That is pretty much it, isn't it? That is our build. It's a budget-friendly build, but that's exactly what I promised you. I think that looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I'd be happy with that. I reckon it'd be pretty quiet as well. Just need to plug in the rest of these fans. We have two RGB fans. No, we have one RGB fan on the back as standard. And then obviously we have RGB on the front of the chassis as well, this big vein here. So when we turn this on, it should look quite nice. But then you do also get additional fan at the front for some GPU ventilation. But that one isn't RGB, which seems a little bit mean and stingy, because MSI make a really nice case called the MagForge 100R. I'm not sure if they still sell it, but that actually, you can buy a variant that comes with RGB fans, and I think you only get RGB fans with that, which is a little bit more enticing, if you ask me. But there we go. We're just going to plug the extra fan in, like that. Sorry you can't see. I'm trying my best. Then we have one additional fan, as I say here, that needs plugging in.
Jeremy Hawkins has given us a $5 donation, and they've wrote, "Shout out for Benchmarkers from Illinois."
Benchmarkers isn't here, I'm afraid. Yeah. I don't see him very often anymore, actually. He's off down the pub, I think, quite a lot. He sets up in like a local Wetherspoons, like a little camera. Not a camera, he doesn't need it, does it? You send him the files, don't you?
I send him some graphs and then he just sends me back a voiceover.
Yeah.
I think he records it on his phone and just, you know.
Do you still pay him by ordering, you know, food with the app? So you just order something, he tells you what table and...
Yeah.
That's why sometimes you get a bit of background noise in the Benchmarkers bits, because as I say, it's down the pub. So, yeah. That would be good, wouldn't it, if Benchmarkers was down the pub? I think you'd enjoy that. Maybe as a joke, we'll do it next time, and then I can expense the beverage as well. 'Cause I'm
Random
working.
pub lunch.
Well, as long as it's a bit, it's
It
fine.
was for a bit. It was fine.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's a bit if you put it in a video.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people think that. Unfortunately, I do not. But there we go.
What are your thoughts on the 540 hertz Asus Swift Pro
Kind of
monitor?
stupid. Because most CPUs aren't fast enough for that, and it's 1080p, right? I think, surely.
Yeah, it is 1080p.
Yeah, well, no, just why? Like, no, just why 1440p, 240 hertz, or even.
And it's TN.
No, no, just no.
No.
I'm sure we'll cover it. And the way it works is you get this email from whatever company it is, not singling out ASUS. I've said that too many times in this video. But you'll get an email from the PR for whatever product it is, and they like make it sound like the best thing since sliced bread. And then when you don't sound that interested, they're like, oh, but why?
Why?
It's pointless. It's just high numbers for the sake of high numbers. Maybe I'll be proved wrong, but surely not. What do you think, Carl?
Yeah, I think it's completely pointless. If you're gonna, especially like, unless you are, this is how you make money in life.
Yes.
Maybe.
But we said that about the 360 hertz and then the 400 hertz or whatever it was.
Well.
Oh, we've already plugged in. We've used satellite. We've already actually plugged in
done
our
that
RGB. I've been organised.
Yeah, if you use it to make money, make a living, then I guess fine. You want the absolute tiniest bit of a millisecond faster, then go for it. But if you actually enjoy gaming,
but then you'd have to play at 1080p.
Yeah. And you have to sit in one position because it's a TN, and your viewing angles will be off if you sit a little bit too high.
Just no.
If you enjoy gaming, then no.
Basically, yeah. That's some very basic cable management. There aren't any tie-down things pre-applied. You have to add your own. You get some cable ties. That's what budget cases do. Look, you have to feed them through like this, which is a bit annoying. And then, yeah, go over here, like so. Ta-da! That's how you cable manage in this case.
One tie.
No, you get quite a few more.
Several ties.
Yeah. All the ties. Oh, you know what I've got for dinner tonight? Thai curry.
Oh,
True story.
I was going to say.
There we go. We've
imagine.
linked it all together. I'm doing veganuary. Oh dear, that will put people off.
Yeah, the other views have just dropped.
Oh, they've gone. That's it. Everyone's left. Well, yeah, there we go. I don't know. Just genuinely, I do it for a laugh every year, just because I get bored. It's like, oh, let's do a challenge. Oh, I'll go vegan for a bit.
I'm not complaining. I got some free cheese today.
You did, didn't you? That was the weirdest thing. Was it £50 of value? Because remember, HMRC say if you receive benefits over £50.
I don't think.
Was it £51 of cheese?
I
Do I need to take it out and report it to HMRC? Too much cheese.
Too much cheese.
Company
I
benefit.
don't think it was £50 worth of cheese.
I don't think you would.
But
But yeah, you had a load of cheese that was in my fridge, didn't you? Unopened, sealed. I'm not a monster.
Wasn't bite marks in it.
No, there wasn't. Oh, right. Well, that's the PC anyway. I don't want to knock our i3 CPU off, so I'll move that to one side. What do you guys think? I think this is, as I say, it looks good. You know, budget-friendly rig. I know people want more airflow on the front, but actually, I don't know if you can see it in this light. Can you maybe, if I tilt it?
What are you trying to show?
If you look at the front of the, there you go, yeah. You see, you can see through it. If
Yeah,
you can see through
see
it,
in this camera quite easily.
that one.
The other one.
Yeah, if you can see through it, you know that there's clearly airflow. It's like a half airflow case.
Yeah.
But you do get some chassis that have this sort of look on the front of them, and it's almost like fake mesh, which is unforgivable.
Fake mesh.
It's a sin against, I don't know, PC gaming. It's a bit annoying, but no, not so with this.
Do you need the monitor?
Well, I could just, the overhead's gone, so should we just steal this monitor? Like, we don't need this anymore, do we?
I don't know. Depends. You like to know which one you're looking at, don't you?
Yeah, but it'll be all right, probably. We're still on air. Be all right.
Fine.
What you could do is maybe plug that feed into one of the other HDMI monitors. So if you plug that HDMI cable into the Shinobi, then we can see on that. Oh no, the battery's gone. Plug it into the small HD one here. This is sounding very technical now, but basically, long story short, we don't have enough monitors, except we do. We had an extra monitor in the cupboard that I should have got out, but we're now gone to really weird, extreme measures now. But whatever, we're doing it. I just want to show people that this PC works, which I think is fair. Just taking the brake off of that. It's all chaos. Chaos. I need another HDMI cable, please. Have we got a spare? Ah, marvellous. There we go. Da, 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 da.
Can you see? Have I plugged it into the right one?
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah, I can see. It's brilliant. So if I press this button, bang, there's me. And I think if I press this button, whoa, that's really small. I've now got that full display. Like tiny. But it says we're on air, so we're all good. We're all good. I can still see. That's kind of weird though, because now it's gone tiny. Don't know why I didn't consider using that before, because that does actually work. Battery low.
Oh no.
But it's all right, it's all right.
It's fine.
We'll work with it.
We'll be okay.
We just need to know whether this works.
I suppose turn it on.
Yeah. Yeah. Turn it on. I need a keyboard though. I need a keyboard.
Oh, keyboard and mouse. And a mouse mat.
And a mouse mat. Well, here's the mouse. Where's the keyboard?
You got the keyboard. The mouse mat's by the CPU cooler.
Have I got the keyboard?
Yes, on the desk.
Oh. Once again, let's plug the PC Centric mouse mat. As I say, when I said pre-orders finished on the 31st, I promise that's what I was told. But for whatever reason, it seems as if the pre-order is still live for some reason. So get in now, you can definitely get one. But it looks as if there are about 270-ish units left, and then this has gone forever. This is a, we do probably 2 runs of it, but all kind of the same run. No, it'll be 1 run. Basically, long story short, 280, that was the word before this video went live, of this left. Once it's gone forever. We're not making any more. This is a limited edition product. If you want it, grab it now, or that's it. You have to get one on eBay. The scalpers buy them all up. I don't think they will. Unfortunately for me, I don't think they will. It's not going to be some mad third-party trading of PC-centric mouse mats. Maybe they will. Maybe keep one, seal it, have it on the wall. Shall we stop procrastinating and actually turn this on?
Turn it on.
No, because I need the mouse and keyboard out of there. Sorry. This is
Technical difficulties.
It's not technical difficulty, it's just difficulties, which is me being me. So, sorry about that. Right, here we go. Is there a... Yes, there is. I'll have to nick that one. Easiest way, we nick the overhead camera HDMI cable, untuck that from there, swing this round, plug this in. Look, he's done all of this before. There's only one, no there's not, there's 2 HDMIs, which you don't actually get on the new cards, which is kind of funny. There we go.
Wait, why is there 2 HDMIs in there?
I know. The card has 2 HDMIs. This is a new thing we don't get very often. Anyway, let's do it. It's all right, it's all right, it's all right. Panic over. Hey, we've got light. We've got a little bit of RGB.
Sign.
Is there some on the front as well?
Yeah, nice and colourful.
Is there an RGB button? There's not. So this is purely just relying on the RGB of your motherboard.
Does it have a reset button?
There is a reset, yeah.
Does it have a hub or anything?
I don't think so.
No, it's just SATA, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think so. Just...
Oh, we've got post.
Oh, there we go. See? And that is how you build a budget-friendly gaming PC. We can go into the BIOS now.
You spend an hour and 40 minutes ranting about a 4070 Ti.
No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. F1 to continue. There we go. This is probably old school Windows. I haven't used this SSD in a while. Windows 10.
There's nothing wrong with Windows 10.
When I found out that you actually can use the same Windows 11 install though, it's changed my life. Because you don't need necessarily need the TPM keys. As long as you can connect it to the internet and log back in, it seems to work. There you go, look, it's Monday the 8th of August. So, yeah, we've done it. Let me just put this black for a second so I can put my password. Oh, like that, there you go. So you need to set up my PIN. It's a disaster area. Oh, you need the internet, so, all right.
It posts.
It posts. It posts. I will show you guys how to set this up though. Turn it off. Don't you worry. I'm not being very entertaining. Sorry, do you need me to juggle at the same time? I'm in like Marcus focus mode. Focus up. So I'm going to plug this HDMI cable in and turn this back on. Camera 2, and then in theory, oh, you can't see now. Picture in picture on. Yay, there you go. Got the ASRock logo. I don't know why the picture in picture's not come up though. It's just a bit weird.
So small.
Yeah, I don't know, but there's the ASRock thing, because I now don't have it on this monitor, which is the tricky thing. Oh, so now we've logged back into that. Brilliant. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, it's chaos. Can you give me some chat, please? I need some time. I need some time.
I can just keep seeing the screen going black and things, and the ASRock logo's just appeared now on the stream.
Well, that's what people are saying.
Oh, I think there's quite a big delay actually. That ASRock logo's only just appeared now.
Ah, that's a delay.
People are asking, why is the screen gone black? It's because Marcus turned it off so you couldn't see his password.
Yeah. Well, although I revealed what that was at the start of the video, didn't I?
Hashtag Marcus is the best, exclamation mark.
Something like that, yeah. Right,
So,
we're in the BIOS now. Here we go. I can't see though, this is really hard. What I would do is change the CPU fan mode to silent. For context, what I'm currently doing is like this now, looking at this tiny little monitor over there. It's chaos. I would turn the fan on to silent. If you haven't already done this, make sure you plug all of your fans into the motherboard and then tune them to be silent. If you do nothing else, that will make a big difference. Then you need to go to XMP, which is here. Turn it from auto to profile 1, and resizable bar should be enabled as well, but I really can't see now. This is chaos. Fantastic tuning, still my favourite name. Chroma, no, that's RGB.
XMP profile auto on the phone.
Advanced, I need to switch to advanced mode. Or back and easy. Oh, it's so confusing. Where's the... Where are all the settings gone? I can't. I think I just can't see on my monitor, which is a pain in the bum. So what we're going to do is I would say just make sure resizable bar is enabled on your motherboard, and then happy days. That will give you a little bit extra performance in certain titles. But we're going to go back to this now, and we should say not discard changes. I can't see at the top of this monitor. It's like clipping the side. It's really annoying. What is it? It's usually like, what's save and exit? Is it like F10?
Usually escape.
That one. F10. No, I was right. F10. So then we're going to save. And so you can see I'm going to very quickly unplug the HDMI into this monitor, and we're going to hope that this works. And then we have successfully built ourselves a gaming PC, which is nice. Which is good.
We've got a quick super chat from Choey
There we go.
Colgan. Loves the channel. My question, is the i3 just a binned i5? Doesn't quite make sense.
No, well, it'll be down.
The other way around.
The other way, like down, like.
It'd be like a cut down i5.
Yeah, cut down. The actual bin.
Now maybe out of the actual bin.
Yeah, I don't know the details on this one, but yes, basically some chips are just the better chips that aren't able to make the clock speeds and things like the not bad wafers, but the ones that can't reach the same speeds. What I might be able to do, because I want to see if I can get some gameplay, is if I move this monitor like hidden down here on the floor. This is very stressful to do live, I'd like to point out, because you don't want to, you really don't want to cause an incident where you put, no, I can't. The cable's plugged into the thing, isn't it? And there's no Wi-Fi on this board. So no, I actually can't. Sorry, I did want to get some gameplay on here. I'm really sorry, but I can't, because I can't get internet, because the internet cable was plugged into the thing, and that's actually keeping this stream alive. So what I will instead say is, if you have any final questions, please get them in now about this rig. This is the noise level at the moment with this machine, which obviously the graphics card isn't doing a thing at the moment, but you'd be surprised how many PCs actually make a ton of noise in their default state, which is really annoying when you're trying to use it. But this is a budget-friendly rig. It's not going to win the largest amount of awards, but I think most people will be happy with this just make sure that you don't buy a really big graphics card for this, because even the very small Eagle here is still taking up a fair bit of room. Yeah, I think all of these parts come recommended, really. Not anything I wouldn't change anything about this, actually. I think you guys picked the right CPU, picked the right graphics card. Yeah, just maybe change the case if you want something a little bit more fancy.
Yeah.
Carl, do we have any final comments before we close this?
Yeah, we've got a final super chat from Trevor Shively.
Shively.
What do you think about refurbished GPUs?
Here's the thing, right? Refurbished means a lot of things, and sometimes I bought products, I really like them. Other times, refurbished just means someone's returned it and nothing was done to it. I don't know whether that's actually allowed, but I've been stung a couple of times with refurbished products that have been really frustrating. Like Apple, for example, if you buy a laptop refurbished, you know you're usually getting something that's pretty good. Whereas, sorry to go full PC-centric nerd here, but I bought a coffee machine refurbished. It was one of these like fancy Sage ones, and it was the entry-level one, but it was cost me 150 quid, which was about 200 quid off, right? And it turned up, it was as described, it was fine, but then it was only when I came to clean the machine, the cleaning functionality doesn't work. This is probably why it was returned in the first place. And so what would have happened is someone would have returned this because the cleaning function doesn't work, which you might think doesn't really matter, but for a coffee machine, I assure you it does. It got returned, and then they went, oh no, it works fine. You know, the customer just must have done something wrong. And then it gets resold as refurbished. I don't know whether it's actually allowed, but I swear that's what happens. Point being, you can get refurbished things that might have problems that you might not realize. But if they're from a reputable place, they can be good options. But I probably actually these days just go for a proper used one that's cheaper and just I wouldn't say take the risk, especially if you buy off eBay, you get a guarantee. So yeah, I don't know. It might be worth it, depends on the price. That was a bit of a long answer, but point is you never know what was wrong with a refurbished product, why it was returned. So it was returned for a reason, whereas a used one, in theory, has never been returned. Yeah. Any other questions, Carl?
Yeah, we've got a good one here. For games such as Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Elden Ring, would you actually notice a difference in graphics between max settings 1440p and max settings 4K? Is it worth spending extra to game in 4K?
Those are two different questions. You can notice actually quite a big difference between 1440p and 4K when you set the resolution to 1440p or 4K. Where it gets a little bit more, is when you have the algorithms like DLSS or even like now, like what's it called, just TAA, that's temporal anti-aliasing. But basically, some games upscaled from 1440p to 4K don't really look any different. God of War Ragnarok is a brilliant example. I'm playing that on the PlayStation 5. I can't notice the difference between quality mode and performance mode. I can't, certainly not in a way that's like properly noticeable anyway, and not unless you know what to look for. But if you're playing on a 4K monitor right in front of you, it is more noticeable. But then, does it really matter? Because you're pushing so many more pixels, you have to pay so much more money. I would just stick with 1440p probably, if it was me.
Yeah.
Depends on the game. Like Cyberpunk looks amazing in 4K. You know?
I think it'll be interesting to see 1440 like that new, like the new monitors that are coming out, the 1440p OLED monitors.
Yeah.
So
we're testing one next week.
That could be the difference
testing
between
one next week.
What looks great. 1440p OLED might look just as good as 4K OLED. We've not seen it before.
Yeah, and would you rather have 1440p OLED or 4K not OLED?
Yeah.
There's a lot more to image quality than just resolution, but obviously more expensive graphics cards that are required to run 4K are a lot more expensive, and I think almost everyone would go for 1440p really, unless you're playing on, I don't know. Well, here's that's the question to end this. What's the point in 4K, right? What is the point in 4K? That's not me saying what's the point. No, this question. What's the point in 4K? Playing back content is not free, but obviously they're built to handle 4K playback, so you're not it doesn't matter to you whether you're watching something in 1080p or 4K. It will just play back on your TV through Netflix or whatever, right? You can notice a big difference. But when you're having to generate the amount of FPS, it then becomes a bit more, And on consoles, all the games are pretty much 1440p anyway, aren't they? And they just
Yeah.
upscale. But I was very surprised earlier, actually, that DLSS Auto, which was probably performance mode, 4K, looked noticeably better than 1440p DLSS quality. So clearly there are a fair few differences.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember years ago I bought a 4K monitor with my 980 Ti, and not with it, but around the same time. And then I eventually sold that and got a 1440p monitor because, you know, it looked great in some games, but you can't hit that. Back then you could anyway.
No, exactly. I think I would buy a 4K screen if it was a TV, or if I was going to use it as a monitor, but for watching a lot of TV on, and I didn't want black bars. That's when that would make the largest amount of sense. But I think the best resolution for gaming is ultra-wide 1440p, personally. But 16:9 1440p is fine as well. I don't think 4K is worth it for gaming for a lot of instances, but we do have graphics cards that can do it now, but they're just quite expensive. But 3060 Ti, 1440p monitor, it was a great experience. That's what I'd probably recommend. Right, any final comments, or is that it? Thank you so much, by the way, to everyone that has watched this stream. Really appreciate it.
4K for video, but not for gaming. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people just kind of agreeing with you.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for watching this. Honestly, really appreciate it, and it's been good to do a little bit of a rant about the 4070 Ti. That is earlier in the video. I'll get Carl to bookmark it tomorrow if you want to see that full rant where we discuss it. But yeah, sorry there wasn't any benchmarks and things in that. I should have thought that through. It's because we don't have Wi-Fi. Apologies for that. But if you do want to see a build that we've done with the 3060, just Google or YouTube PC Centric 3060 and you'll come up with something very similar to this. But I think this is a good little rig. If you want to check out current pricing, find it down below. Final chance, as I say, PC Centric mouse mat, links down below. I don't know why the pre-order is still live, but it is. So if you still want to get one, you can do that. That was not mine. It was meant to end on the 31st. But there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, everyone. And thank you to Carl.
Thank you very much.
As always, for being here. Great to have you. We'll catch you in